Chang'an, it's time for you to leave. I looked at the woman standing before me. She wore a long purple dress that flowed like water, her aura noble, and her face breathtakingly beautiful. This was my master, Mu Yunyao. I stared at her, completely confused. Leave? But master, why? I asked, my voice thick with emotion. I want to stay by your side. I can't bear to leave you. A flicker of emotion crossed her stunning features. It wasn't touched by my words, though. She was struggling to suppress a deep, burning irritation. 10,000 years, she said, her voice cold. Do you have any idea how I've spent these 10,000 years? I smiled brightly at her. Of course I do. For 10,000 years, you've had my company. You haven't been lonely for a single second. You must have been so happy, surrounded by bliss every single day. Happy? Blissful? Mu Yunyao glared at me. I could tell she wanted nothing more than to slap the smile right off my face. 10,000 years ago, she had found me when I was just a 6-year-old boy. She saw that I had a unique constitution, something she had never seen before, and decided to take me as her disciple. She didn't realize then that it was the beginning of her longest nightmare. I was smart. I memorized everything she taught me on the first try. But as time passed, a problem emerged. No matter how hard I practiced, I couldn't break through. I couldn't even reach the basic entry level of cultivation. Mu Yunyao didn't give up on me. She taught me everything she knew. I learned it all, every technique, every mantra, but I only possessed the knowledge. I still couldn't actually cultivate. She searched the world for rare treasures and divine herbs to help me, but it was all useless. Eventually, she resigned herself to the fact that I would just be a normal human. She planned to let me live out my short life by her side in peace. But then she discovered something else. I didn't age, and I couldn't die. If I had been a quiet, obedient student, things might have been fine. But I was restless. I was a troublemaker. For 10,000 years, I had made her life a living hell. Now, her patience had finally snapped. Master, are you serious about this? I asked. Her expression told me she wasn't joking. My heart sank. I had been with her since I was 6. I never imagined we would part. Go, she said. Her voice softened slightly, but her resolve remained firm. You've been here long enough. I looked down, playing the part of the abandoned student. I've been with you for 10 millennia. I have no family left, no friends. The world is vast, but I have nowhere to go. Yes, you do, she countered. She waved her hand, and a map appeared in the air between us. She pointed to a specific spot. I looked into it. Even after 10,000 years, the Chen family bloodline still exists. You can go back and see your descendants. I was stunned. She had really thought this through. She was determined to get rid of me. A master's command cannot be disobeyed, I said solemnly. If you insist I leave, I will, despite the pain in my heart. I only hope that you can find happiness without me. Mu Yunyao sighed. She had raised me since I was a child. She wasn't completely heartless. Go then. You haven't spent much time in the outside world. Remember, people are treacherous. Do not trust easily. As soon as the words left her mouth, she looked like she regretted them. I was probably the most devious person she knew. I understand, master, I said, looking at her with pure, innocent eyes. She frowned. Why are you still standing there? I'm just so reluctant to leave you. I know, but we must part. Go. Yes, master, I replied, but I didn't move an inch. Is there something else? She snapped. Master, we've been together for 10,000 years. Think of our bond. I am thinking of it. And I'm leaving right now. Who knows when we'll meet again? What is your point, Chang'an? Her patience was gone. Well, I can't exactly leave empty-handed, can I? Shouldn't you? Give me a little something to remember you by? Mu Yunyao usually stayed calm no matter what happened, but I always brought her to the brink of murder. The worst part was that she couldn't even kill me. Even with her godlike power, she couldn't leave a scratch on her cultivation-less disciple. You've eaten my food and lived in my house for 10,000 years, she hissed. And now you want to rob me on your way out. I prefer to think of it as a parting gift, I smiled. I'm your disciple. If I look like a beggar, it reflects poorly on you. Besides, I'm visiting my family after 10,000 years. I can't show up with empty pockets. She let out a cold laugh. She knew I had plenty of treasures stashed away from my little secret trips over the centuries, but she just wanted me gone. She tossed a storage ring at me. Fine. Take it. It contains things I've collected over the last 1,000 years. They aren't trash. It's enough for you to keep up appearances. Thank you, master. I tucked the ring away, but I still didn't move. Now what? She looked like she was about to explode. Master, you know I have no cultivation. The world is a dangerous place. Aren't you worried about my safety? Dangerous? You're the most dangerous thing out there. Even I can't kill you. No one in this world can hurt you. It's a matter of face, master. If I get beaten up, even if I don't die, it's embarrassing for you. Imagine the rumors. Mu Yunyao's disciple got thrashed by a common thug. You'd lose all your prestige. She took a deep breath. Speak. What do you want? I want a bodyguard, I said. What do you think? You want me to be your bodyguard? Oh, I wouldn't dare trouble you, master. I want the Qilin. Mu Yunyao paused. She knew exactly who I was talking about. The Beast King living in the Forbidden Forest. We were two of a kind, always getting into trouble together. If he's willing to go with you, take him, she said. She figured having a Qilin around would at least keep the flies away. Thank you, master. I'm really leaving now. Good. Master, make sure you're happy while I'm gone. I will. Really, really happy. I get it. Master. Get out. I'm going, I shouted, finally running toward the exit. I hummed a cheerful tune, my steps light and bouncy as I walked away. My mind was already racing, picturing the vibrant world outside and all the fun I was going to have. I was finally free. But behind me, the air suddenly turned cold. I felt a sharp chill run down my spine, and my body stiffened. After living together for 10,000 years, I knew that cold aura all too well. I sighed inwardly. You're the one who kicked me out, yet you're the one getting upset about it. Women really are the most fickle creatures in existence. Of course, I didn't dare say that out loud. I kept my thoughts strictly to myself, straightened my posture, and walked out of Mu Yunyao's sight with a perfectly calm, steady gait. My home was close to the Forbidden Forest. Within the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, I reached its outer edge. The Forbidden Forest earned its name for a reason. Normal people wouldn't dare step foot inside. Even the weakest monsters here were level 5, equivalent to a human in the supernatural realm. I didn't have any cultivation of my own, but I knew plenty about the world's power rankings. It started at the Great Spirit Realm, moving up through spirit condensation, true chi, transcendent, supernatural, and God transformation. Then came Void Whole, supreme, and immortal. At the very top was the Great Emperor. My master, Mu Yunyao, was one of the few peak-level great emperors in the world. While others feared this forest, for me, it felt like coming home. I strolled through the trees, relaxed and carefree. Not a single beast appeared. It was as if they didn't even exist. Hidden in the dense brush, a young monster cub watched me with confusion. Mom, why are we hiding? It whispered. That human looks harmless. Harmless? The mother hissed back. He's a disaster. Look at his face and remember it. If you ever see him, run as far as you can. Do you understand? But why? For others, the forest is dangerous because of us, she replied. But for us, the forest is dangerous because of him. Don't ask questions. Just remember my words. I kept walking, not seeing a single soul. I couldn't help but sigh. I guess being this talented means having no friends. It's lonely at the top. I don't mind their presence, so why are they so insecure? At least I still have Big Yellow. I reached the heart of the forest. There, a massive Qilin lay sprawled out on the ground, lazily napping. Its eyelid flickered as it sensed my presence, but it didn't open its eyes. I walked right up to it and sat down, leaning my back against its warm, scaly side. Big Yellow, I whispered. The Qilin's breathing grew heavy. It clearly hated that name. When it continued to ignore me, I gave a small smile. We've known each other for nearly 10,000 years, I said. Lately, I've been reminiscing about the old days. Remember our first meeting? I looked at you with passion, you looked at me with passion. I said hello, and you happily swallowed me whole. I patted its side. We're basically life and death brothers at this point. What the hell do you actually want? The Qilin finally snapped. It was still embarrassed about that incident. It had swallowed me, but I had stayed in its stomach for days, talking non-stop until its ears bled. Then, my master had found out and beaten it within an inch of its life. I'm leaving, I said. The Qilin's body went still. It kept its eyes shut but replied in a groggy voice. Sneaking out to play again? Your master isn't in seclusion. I can feel her aura. This time is different, I said. I'm going far away. I might be gone for a long time. The Chilan let out a bored huff. Then that has nothing to do with me. Have a safe trip. Usually when I sneak out, you're the first one cheering, I noted. What's wrong this time? Don't be stupid, the Chilan grunted. In the past, your master was busy and you stayed close. You know the rules she set for us. You can't die, but I certainly can. I'm not ready to go yet. Even as the king of the Forbidden Forest, it didn't dare cross Mu Yunyao. Relax, I said, my voice serious. Master agreed to it. She said I needed a powerful protector for this journey, and she specifically named you. She thinks you're a true powerhouse, Big Yellow. The Chilan's head snapped up. It looked energized. A powerhouse. She really said that about me? She has great taste. I lied through my teeth. Where are we going? Let's leave right now. The Chilan stood up so fast it sent me flying backward. What's the rush? I asked, brushing myself off. I want to leave before she changes her mind. She won't. She's the one who kicked me out. I guess after all this time, she finally got tired of me. I put on my best heartbroken face. The Chilan paused, looking at me. She actually kicked you out? Weren't you her favorite treasure? Yesterday a treasure, today a weed, I sighed. Let's not talk about it. It only brings me sorrow. The Chilan couldn't be bothered with my drama. To him, getting to go out and play was the greatest thing in the world. Fine, but we're following the old rules. The old rules. I frowned. I'm not turning into a dog this time, the Chilan barked. I love going out, but I'm a Chilan. Every time we leave, you make me transform into a big yellow dog. People call me Doggy and Mutt. I have a reputation to uphold. It's just for convenience. I tried to reason. Lin Yuan, do you think I'm an idiot? People ride horses, donkeys, and even cool spirit beasts. But you? You ride a dog. No way. Not this time. If anyone is getting ridden, it's you. Hey, we're brothers. Don't be like that. I laughed. Let's just start walking. We can negotiate on the way. We can negotiate anything except me being a dog. In the city of Yangui, within the North Tundra prefecture of the Great Zhou Kingdom, the Chun family was facing a crisis. Master Chun, the Liu family visiting you today is a huge sign of respect, a man sneered. I suggest you behave yourself. Do you really think you're the same Chun family from the old legends? The members of the Chun family bristled with rage. It was a classic case of the fallen tiger being bullied by dogs. The Chuns weren't originally from the Great Zhou Kingdom. They had migrated here long ago. Back then, they were the undisputed #1 family in the land. The Liu family had once been nothing more than their lowly servants. With the Chun family's help, the Lius had risen to power. To show their loyalty, the Lius had even made a rule. Every daughter of the Liu family head must marry into the Chun family. They never expected the Chun family to actually fall. Over the last century, the Chuns had lost everything, eventually shrinking until they were forced to hide away in this small, backwater city. Back when the Chun family was the strongest power in the North Tundra prefecture, the Liu family used to visit quite often. But the moment the Lius climbed their way up to become one of the 3 great families of the Great Zhou Kingdom, they cut us off completely. I never expected them to show up at our door today. My family members were ready to welcome them with open arms, hoping for a reconciliation. But the Liu family's attitude was beyond insulting. Liu Chengfeng, our families haven't spoken in 100 years, my father, Chen Zhengyuan, said firmly. He didn't back down just because our status had fallen. There was no need for this trip if you only came here to humiliate us. As for that old rule your family made, you can do whatever you want with it. There's no need to be so aggressive. Liu Chengfeng looked surprised. He clearly didn't expect a dying family like ours to still have any backbone. To him, my father's anger was just a joke, the desperate barking of a toothless dog. Humph. Our young miss has been scouted by the Shanqing sect, Liu Chengfeng sneered. She and the 5th prince of the Great Zhou Empire are also. Enough, Uncle Feng, a young woman interrupted. This was Liu Mingyan, the daughter of the current Liu family head. According to the old rules, she was the one destined to marry into our family. Of course, we considered that rule dead a long time ago. The Lius hadn't looked at us in decades, so their sudden appearance felt suspicious. Liu Mingyan smiled at my father, but it didn't reach her eyes. Master Chun, our family received many favors from yours in the past, she said smoothly. And we didn't just stand by when you first started to decline. But times have changed. The old rules aren't appropriate anymore. I came here personally to put an end to this matter once and for all. What do you think? She gestured to her attendants. We aren't stingy. Here are 10,000 low-grade spirit stones and 5 Ning pills. Consider it compensation. 10,000 stones, 5 Ning pills. In our glory days, we wouldn't have glanced at such pocket change. But now, we were starving for resources. I saw my kin's eyes light up, but no one moved. We all knew the price of this gift was our dignity. The Liu family is certainly generous, my father laughed coldly. But the Chen family doesn't take charity. We appreciate the thought, Miss Liu, but no thank you. Lu Mingyin's smile vanished. Her eyes were full of a cold, hidden arrogance. In her mind, her even showing up here was a massive favor. She expected us to kneel and thank her for the scraps. You're refusing? She asked, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Don't tell me the Chen family is still dreaming of clinging to us? Do you actually think I'd marry into this house? Cling to you? My father narrowed his eyes. Miss Liu, you think too highly of yourself. You think I don't know why you're really here. Not many people remember the pact between our families, but people haven't forgotten entirely. You want to marry the 5th prince. You're just here to scrub away a potential stain on your reputation before you enter the imperial palace. He hit the nail on the head. To the future wife of a prince, an old marriage contract with a failing family wasn't a memory. It was a scandal. Chun Jingyuan, think carefully. Lu Chengfeng threatened, stepping forward. If we weren't being sentimental about the past, your family couldn't survive the combined wrath of the Lius and the 5th prince. He couldn't understand why we were being so difficult. To him, we were idiots for choosing pride over survival. The men of the Qin family aren't afraid to die, a voice rang out. Everyone turned. I walked forward, holding a piece of parchment. It was the original contract the Liu family had delivered to us generations ago. Who are you? Lu Mingyan asked. The son of the family head, I replied coldly. Qin Yunxian. She looked me up and down. The young master of this generation? You have a decent look about you, but your cultivation is pathetic. You're nothing compared to the 5th prince. If we followed the old rules, you're the one I would have had to marry. I didn't flinch. Miss Liu, you're joking. When has a member of the Liu family ever been worthy of marrying a young master of the Qin family? You're dreaming a bit too big. The room went silent. Lu Mingyan's face turned purple with rage. Lu Qingfeng looked ready to kill. It was a brutal truth. Historically, the Lius were our servants. They married our branch members, never our heirs. You, how dare you? Lu Mingyan hissed. Fine, give me the contract. Keep your pride and rot. From this day on, our families have nothing to do with each other. We don't want your compensation, I said, stepping closer. And I'll give you the paper. But your family broke your word. Since you're the eldest daughter, you will apologize to the Chun family first. Apologize? Lu Mingyan laughed, a sharp, dangerous sound. Does the Qin family even have the right to ask that? Are you tired of living? Lu Qingfeng didn't wait. He released a crushing wave of pressure. He was at the peak of the true Qi realm. My father had only just entered that level. The rest of my family buckled under the weight, unable to breathe. See? The Qin family is pathetic, Lu Qingfeng mocked, looking directly at me. If you want to talk big, you need strength. Without it, you're just a clown. He expected me to collapse. Instead, I gritted my teeth. I forced my legs to move, fighting against the invisible weight crushing my bones. Under his shocked gaze, I stood up straight. I stared him right in the eyes. In that moment, Lu Qingfeng's eyes changed. He saw the fire in me, the sheer will of a teenager who shouldn't be able to stand. For the first time, he didn't feel contempt. He felt a flicker of genuine fear. My father saw it too, and his hand tightened on his chair. Things were about to get ugly. I could feel the killing intent radiating off Lu Qingfeng. He was done playing games. But my son, Qin Yunxian, didn't flinch. He stared Lu Qingfeng right in the eyes, his voice sharp and steady. A dragon might be trapped in a shallow pond today, Yunxian said. But the day will come when it soars to the heavens. One day, the Qin family will take back everything we've lost. Lu Qingfeng burst out laughing. It was a cold, mocking sound. Take it back? With this pathetic clan of less than 100 people. I'd like to see if you even live through the day. He raised his hand to strike. Suddenly, the sound of slow, rhythmic clapping echoed through the hall. Everyone froze. A young man stood in the doorway. He looked relaxed, almost bored. Beside him stood a large yellow dog with a strange, grumpy expression. It looked like it was judging everyone in the room. Lu Qingfeng and Lu Mingyan stared in confusion. My family was just as lost. None of us recognized him. Who are you? Lu Qingfeng demanded, his brow furrowed. The young man stepped forward. A Chun, he said simply. Qin Chang'an. The room went silent. We all looked at each other, searching for answers. Was he a distant relative? A long-lost illegitimate son? I searched my memory, a flicker of hesitation crossing my mind as I looked at his face. Lu Qingfeng sneered. The Chun family gets bolder by the second. That boy at least has some cultivation, but you? You have nothing. You're a commoner. Aren't you afraid I'll kill you? Qin Chang'an didn't look scared. He looked amused. Kill me? You're welcome to try. Arrogant brat. Lu Qingfeng didn't use his fists. He unleashed his full spiritual pressure instead. He wanted to crush this newcomer into the floorboards with raw power. But Qin Chang'an didn't move. He didn't even blink. He looked like he was standing in a light breeze. After a moment, he let out a sigh. That's it. He had spent years by his master Mu Yunyao's side. She was a peak power of the Great Earth Realm. Compared to her, this pressure was a joke. Big Yellow, Chang'an muttered. The dog looked annoyed, but it trotted over and grabbed a heavy wooden chair with its teeth. It set the chair down right behind Chang'an. He sat down, crossing his legs comfortably. The room was stunned. It was one thing for the man to be unaffected, but even his dog moved freely under a true Qi master's pressure. Impossible, Lu Qingfeng stammered. Who, what are you? Lu Mingyan's eyes were locked on Chang'an. The situation had spiraled out of her control. I felt a jolt of electricity run through my spine. Qin Chang'an. The name. The face. I stood up so fast my chair nearly toppled. My heart was racing. Are you really Qin Chang'an? I asked, my voice trembling. Chang'an, as in long peace. He smiled faintly. It seems someone in this family still remembers my name. Saves me the breath. My knees hit the floor before I could even think. The rest of the clan watched in absolute shock as I, their leader, bowed low. Chun Jingyuan, 135th head of the Qin family, greets the ancestor. I shouted. Ancestor? The others whispered. They were frozen. What are you waiting for? I barked at them, my eyes wide. Kneel. Greet the ancestor. One by one, my family dropped to their knees. The hall was filled with the sounds of their voices as they paid their respects. Lu Mingyan and Lu Qingfeng looked like they had seen a ghost. If the Chun family had an ancestor like this, why were we struggling? Lu Qingfeng leaned toward Lu Mingyan, his voice a frantic whisper. Miss? I've heard rumors. They say a Chun ancestor was taken away by a supreme master ages ago. Everyone thought it was a lie, but if he's really back. How long has it been? She whispered back, staring at the young-looking man. The rumors are hundreds of years old, Lu Qingfeng replied. If he's been alive that long, his power must rival the imperial family. I overheard them and let out a cold snort. Hundreds of years? Our ancestor left the Chun family 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years. Lu Mingyan gasped. The world they knew was barely 1,000 years old. To them, 10,000 years was a lifetime of legends. They were terrified. They couldn't even fathom what kind of monster they were facing. Chang'an waved a hand. Get up. I didn't expect the family to fall this far. We stood up, heads bowed in shame. Chang'an turned his gaze toward the two intruders. They looked like they wanted to bolt. Relax, Chang'an said with a smile. I'm not going to kill you. But you aren't taking that contract today. Go home. Wait. In a few days, a member of the Chun family will visit you personally to deliver it. Now get out. He didn't show a spark of power, but his presence was suffocating. Lu Mingyan and Lu Qingfeng bowed deeply, not daring to say another word, and scrambled out of the hall. Chang'an turned to my son, Yunxian. You did well earlier. You have courage. But tell me, aren't you afraid that acting tough without the strength to back it up will get you killed? Yunxuan's face flushed with excitement. He hadn't expected the ancestor to notice him. My heart swelled. Everything was about to change. I'll answer that, ancestor. My grandson, Chun Yunxian, said, stepping forward. I looked at him. You bet the Liu family wouldn't dare destroy us. Why? The Liu family is one of the 3 great clans of the Great Zhou Kingdom, Yunxian explained with a calm smile. They care about their reputation above all else. Everyone knows the history between our families. They can pretend they don't know us, but they can't strike us down. If they did, they'd be branded as backstabbers who kick people when they're down. Killing the Qin family gains them nothing. At most, they would have only killed me. I nodded, satisfied. He wasn't just talking tough, he was thinking. You aren't afraid to die? I asked. I can die, he said, his voice like iron. But the Qin family must never be insulted. The rest of the family looked at him with pride. He was a worthy young master. I chuckled. Well said. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, no one will insult this family. And you won't be dying anytime soon. Beside me, my dog, De Huang, gave me a look of pure disgust. I could almost hear him thinking, *Q? Useful? You're just a professional actor. If things get real, I'm the one doing the heavy lifting, *. With the ancestor here, we will reclaim everything we lost. Chun Jingyuan, the family head, shouted in excitement. Not me. I corrected him quickly. You'll do it yourselves. My status is too high to interfere in petty squabbles. People would say I'm a bully. That was my cover story. The truth? I couldn't fight worth a damn. I was just impossible to kill. I was the world's greatest human punching bag. Don't worry, I added, seeing their faces fall. With me here, your strength will grow. It's only a matter of time. I dismissed the rest of the clan, leaving only Junyuan and Yunxian behind. I had questions. If I remember correctly, I began, the Qin family didn't live in the Great Zhou Kingdom. We were millions of miles away. How did you end up here? Junyuan sighed, his shoulders sagging. After you left, ancestor, the family had its glory days. But slowly we declined. We migrated here to recover, but he trailed off, the shame evident on his face. Forget the past, I said. I pulled out a spatial ring I had prepared and tossed it to him. Take this. Use it as you see fit. Jingyuan peeked inside the ring. His entire body froze. His jaw hit the floor. What grade of spirit stones are these? High grade. And some are? Top grade. What? Yunxian gasped. There are at least 100,000 high-grade stones in here. Jingyuan's voice was trembling. In the Great Zhou Kingdom, most cultivators used low-grade stones. Medium grade was a luxury. 100,000 high-grade stones was a fortune beyond their wildest dreams. And that wasn't all. The ring was packed with high-level cultivation techniques and rare herbs they didn't even recognize. I turned to Yunxian. Your talent is decent. Do you want to train with me? The boy didn't hesitate. He dropped to his knees. Ancestor, I would be honored. Good. Go get some rest. Come find me tomorrow. As the family buzzed with new life, Jingyuan led me to the best courtyard they had. It was small but beautiful. Honestly, it was a palace compared to the wooden shack my master had kept me in for 10,000 years. Ancestor, Jingyuan said, his voice turning serious. There is one more thing. An heirloom passed down through generations. The ancestral instructions were clear. If you ever returned, this must be given to you personally. He handed me a jade box. I opened it. Inside sat a crystal-clear bead. I couldn't tell what it was made of, but the moment I touched it, my blood surged. For the first time in 10,000 years, I felt a connection. What is this? I asked, frowning. The ancestors called it a fetal bead, Jingyuan explained. Never heard of it, I said, glancing at De Huang. Even the dog looked confused. It was named that because, well, it appeared at the exact moment you were born, ancestor. It came out with you. I blinked. So you're saying my mother didn't just give birth to me? She gave birth to a bead too? Is this my twin brother? Jingyuan coughed. The original plan was to give it to you when you were older, but you were taken away by that powerful master. Over the centuries, the family faced many crises. There were originally 9 beads. Now, only this one remains. 9. My eyes widened. You mean I have 8 other brothers out there? Where are they? I don't know, Jingyuan admitted. But I heard rumors that one of them is in the hands of the Great Zhou imperial family. They stole it from us long ago. I stared at the bead. It looked useless for cultivation, but the pull I felt was undeniable. I understand, I said. Go now. and tell the kitchens to prepare a feast. A big one. De Huang is hungry. The dog wagged his tail, finally looking happy. Once Jinyuan left, I headed straight for my room. My heart was racing. After 10,000 years of being a useless immortal, I finally had a lead on my own mystery. I had a feeling this bead was the key to everything. I walked back to my room and closed the door. I held the fetal bead in my palm, staring at it intensely. I needed to know what kind of connection I had with this thing. Suddenly, the bead transformed into a streak of white light. Before I could even blink, it shot straight into my forehead. It was so fast I didn't have time to react. Holy crap, I yelled. My own brother is trying to assassinate me? But I was wrong. As soon as the bead entered my head, it turned into a wave of pure energy. It surged through my entire body, flowing into every limb and vessel. The sensation was so incredibly comfortable that I almost let out a moan, but I bit my lip and held it back. Wait, I felt something. For the first time in 10,000 years, I could sense spiritual energy. My body was actually absorbing it. The energy from the bead circled my system one last time before settling right between my eyebrows and vanishing. At that exact moment, the world changed. I could feel the spiritual essence in the air around me. It was like I had been blind my whole life, and someone had finally flipped the switch. All those years, my master Mu Yunyao had fed me countless rare herbs and treasures, but none of it worked. My body had been like a leaky bucket. Now, this one bead had fixed everything. No way, I muttered to myself. Was I unable to cultivate because of these 9 beads? Did they hoard all my talent while I was still in the womb? I laughed bitterly. My master was right. I really was a freak of nature. But the bitterness didn't last long. I was itching to try it out. I wanted to see if I could finally cultivate like a normal person. I might have acted like I didn't care about being weak for 10,000 years, but deep down, it stung. I had all of Mu Yunyao's supreme techniques memorized in my head. I knew the theory. I just didn't have the engine to run them. Until now. I scrolled through the mental library of God-tier techniques. Supreme Tyrant Body Art? No, I didn't want to be a meathead. 9-cycle heaven rotation? Too much work. You have to restart your cultivation 9 times. I wanted something cool. Something stylish. Let's go with the sword, I decided. I've always been a bit of a sharp guy anyway. I chose the Supreme Sword Emperor script. It was one of the hardest techniques Mu Yunyao ever taught me. It required insane talent and comprehension. If you weren't a genius, you couldn't even understand the first line. I took a deep breath. My heart hammered against my ribs like a kid on his first day of school. After 10,000 years, the wait was finally over. I began to run the technique. The moment I started, the spiritual energy in the air didn't just trickle in. It hit me like a tidal wave. Outside the room, De Huang stopped chewing his bone. His eyes widened as he felt the shift in the atmosphere. The kid can actually cultivate, the dog thought, his tail going still. He was already a menace without any power. If he actually gets strong. As I continued to pull in energy, the entire city of Yangue went into a panic. Cultivators everywhere stopped what they were doing. What's happening? Someone shouted in the streets. The spiritual energy, it's gone. It wasn't just gone. It was being sucked toward a single point, the Chun family estate. Is the Chun family head breaking through to the peak of the true Qi realm? A rival wondered. No, this is too much power for that. In the other 2 great families of the city, the Su and Ning clans, the leaders looked at each other in pure terror. They had no idea what was happening, but they knew the Chun family had stumbled onto something massive. Inside the Chun estate, the atmosphere was the opposite. The younger generation was buzzing with excitement. They knew exactly where that energy was going. It's the ancestor, they whispered. He's incredible. Do you think he's in the spirit transformation realm? One asked. Are you insulting him? Another snapped. With this much power, he has to be at the void realm at least. He's a super expert. While my family was celebrating, the rest of the region was starting to sweat. The energy vacuum was getting out of control. It had already drained everything within 100 miles, and it wasn't stopping. De Huang watched my room, his jaw dropping. The meat in his mouth didn't even taste good anymore. He just drained the entire Beiyuan prefecture, the dog muttered. Is he trying to jump straight to the divine ability realm in one day? This is insane. I had no idea I was causing an earthquake in the cultivation world. In the capital of Baiyuan Prefecture, the head of the powerful Nan family, Nan Xiangtian, rushed to the governor's office. "Governor Wu, do you see this?" Nan Xiangtian asked, his face pale. "What kind of monster has arrived in our territory? Tell me who it is, so I can make sure my family doesn't accidentally offend them." Governor Wu Chengfeng could only offer a bitter smile. He was just as lost. "I have no idea, Brother Nan. I haven't heard of any high-level experts visiting. Maybe a supreme genius was just born?" Nan Xiangtian's eyes lit up. "If that's the case, we have to find them. A talent like this will rule the world one day. We need to recruit them immediately." Meanwhile, Lu Mingyan and her uncle Lu Qingfeng were still fleeing the area. When the energy vanished, they nearly fell off their horses. "Uncle," Lu Mingyan stammered, her voice shaking. "How strong is that Chen ancestor really?" Lu Qingfeng looked back toward Yingwei City with pure dread. "He's bottomless. We've traveled at full speed, and we're almost out of the prefecture. Yet I can't feel a single drop of spiritual energy in the air." He swallowed it all. In an instant. "But why?" Mingyan asked. "What does he gain by draining the whole region?" "It's a warning," the uncle whispered. "He's showing us, and everyone else, exactly who is in charge now." People were going to investigate. It was inevitable. Eventually, the word would get out that the Chun family ancestor had returned, and that news would tear through the great Zhou kingdom like a wildfire. The Qin family was making a move. They were building momentum for a massive comeback. It looked like they were about to reclaim their spot as the #1 clan in the kingdom. Or maybe they didn't even care about the great Zhou kingdom anymore. Lu Qingfeng's analysis made perfect sense to Lu Mingyan. Why else would a man like Qin Chang'an cause such a massive scene? She sighed, wishing her own family had an ancestor like that. She asked her uncle if there was still a way to fix things. Could the Lu family still find a way to cling to this rising giant? Lu Qingfeng's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't even thought that far ahead. He realized they needed to get home immediately to tell the family head. They couldn't let anyone else beat them to it. They pushed their horses to the limit, racing back to the Lu estate as fast as they could. Back in Yingwei City, I felt incredible. So, this was what it felt like to cultivate. The session hadn't been long, but it gave me a taste of something entirely new. I finally understood why everyone was obsessed with it. Having that kind of power flowing through your veins changed everything. But there was a problem. I wanted to keep going, but I realized I couldn't absorb any more spiritual energy. It was like my body had hit a hard limit. I pushed open my door and took a deep breath. The world felt different, sharper. I looked at De Huang and gave him a smug grin. Am I a genius or what? It hasn't been long at all, and I've already broken through to the first level of the Ning Yuan realm. Impressive, right? De Huang frowned, his eyes scanning me with suspicion. He'd seen me swallow a mountain of energy. He told me that with 10,000 years of accumulation, I should have soared much higher. He checked my cultivation again. It was true. I was only at the first level. He asked if I was suppressing my power on purpose. I shook my head. I'm not. All that energy only got me this far, and my body is acting up again. I tried to pull in more qi, but it just won't take. De Huang muttered about how strange I was. He said nothing about me was normal. Then, he told me to attack him so he could gauge my actual combat strength. I hesitated, but he snapped at me, reminding me that even my master couldn't kill me. He certainly couldn't. I didn't waste any more time. I pointed my finger and released a streak of qi. It shot toward him like an arrow, fast and heavy. It didn't hurt him, of course, but it made his eyes go wide. He called me a freak. He explained that even though I was only at the first level of the Ning Yuan realm, that single strike had the power of the Transcendence realm. I was fighting 2 entire stages above my level. He told me that if I ever became an emperor, no one in the world could stop me. Not even my master. My eyes lit up at that. If I could beat my master, I could make him do whatever I wanted. De Huang saw the look in my eyes and warned me. He said my master might just lock me up forever if he knew I was thinking like that. I sighed. For now, my cultivation was stuck. De Huang figured the problem was the missing fetal beads. If I could find the other 8, my path forward would be clear. He joked that I was the only person he'd ever met who was ruthless enough to push my own talent out of my body before I was even born. I didn't care about his teasing. I just wanted those beads. The only one we knew about was held by the great Zhou imperial family. I wondered why my master hadn't just asked the Chen family about them years ago. It would have saved him a lot of trouble. I laughed and called him a poor old man. But as soon as the words left my mouth, a familiar chill ran down my spine. I froze. That feeling was unmistakable. I panicked, wondering if my master was actually following me. I looked at De Huang, terrified. He just gave me a look of pure contempt. He told me my master wasn't physically there, but with his power, checking in on me from a distance wasn't hard. I nodded, my heart still racing. My master had a lot of creative ways to make my life miserable. I'm done talking to you, I muttered. De Huang told me the kid from my family was coming. He asked why I was bothering to train him. I told him the Chen family, and I shared the same blood. I couldn't stay here forever, and the clan needed someone to lead them when I left. Chen Yinxian was the best choice. De Huang nodded, called me a restless soul, and went off to find a place to nap. I waved my hand toward the door. Come in. Chen Yinxian walked in, looking like he'd seen a ghost. He'd heard the dog talking. He asked me, trembling, if I had actually been having a conversation with the animal. I told him not to look down on De Huang. I called him the Dog King, just to mess with him. De Huang heard me, but he just turned his head and ignored us. I got down to business. I told Yinxian that he had the best potential in the family. From now on, he would train by my side. Because of how he'd handled himself yesterday, I decided to give him an Earth rank technique, the Supreme Overlord Body Art. He looked a bit disappointed. Earth rank was good, but it wasn't Heaven rank. But as I began to teach him, his expression shifted to pure shock. He asked if this was really an Earth rank technique. He said the complexity and depth were far beyond anything even a Heaven rank manual should have. I smiled. I asked him if he thought Earth rank referred to the common grading system. I told him it stood for the power of the primordial earth itself. Yinxian stood there, frozen like a statue. In the entire Great Zhou Kingdom, nobody had ever even dreamed of a technique that powerful. The people in this kingdom couldn't understand a technique like that. They didn't even know what the primordial earth really meant. But the Chen family was different. We had seen glory once, long ago. We still held on to fragments of ancient knowledge. I told Yinxian not to be surprised. I didn't keep trash in my collection. I looked him in the eye and told him to train hard. This generation of the Chen family needed a leader, and I wanted it to be him. Yinchuan's face lit up with excitement. He had dreamed of leading the clan, but hearing it from my mouth was different. It meant I believed in him. He bowed low, his voice trembling as he promised not to let me down. He said that with me watching over him, he wouldn't dare to be lazy. I just nodded. I told him my cultivation was too high and my status too senior to be constantly fighting his battles. It wasn't appropriate for me to step in every time. He understood. He threw himself into his training with a new fire in his eyes. The rest of the Chen family followed suit. A wave of cultivation swept through the estate. For a whole month, we stayed behind closed doors. The clan's strength didn't just grow, it leaped forward. But outside our walls, people were getting restless. Yingwei City had 3 major cultivation families. The Su and Ning families were the local powers, while my Chen family were seen as outsiders. We were the weakest link, usually bullied and suppressed by the other 2. Now, we had been ignoring their messengers for 30 days. In the Su family hall, the 2 patriarchs were fuming. Master Su slammed his fist on the table. He couldn't believe we had the nerve to shut them out. He asked Master Ning if there had been a lucky birth in our family, some genius infant who caused the spirit energy shift a month ago. Master Ning shook his head. He knew our family well. There were no pregnant women, so no miraculous babies. They went through the possibilities. It couldn't be Chen Jingyuan breaking through. He didn't have the talent for it. Then, their eyes met. A realization dawned on both of them at the same time. A treasure, they whispered in unison. They were convinced we had found something incredible. That was why we were ignoring them. They grew furious, then instantly regretted waiting so long to act. If it was a consumable treasure, would there be anything left? Master Ning narrowed his eyes. He told Master Su there was still a chance. He figured it wasn't a pill, but a weapon or a cultivation tool. Something that was drawing in all the local spirit energy. He painted a picture of a future where, with that treasure, they could rule the entire North Yuan province, maybe even the Great Zhou Kingdom itself. Greed took over. Master Su worried that we might have grown too strong over the month, but Master Ning laughed it off. How much could one family improve in 30 days? They decided to join forces and strike fast. Meanwhile, back at the estate, Yunxian let out a shout of pure joy. I did it. Ancestor, I actually reached the first level of the true Qi realm. He looked at his hands like they belonged to someone else. A month ago, he was only at the 7th level of the spirit gathering realm. He expected to reach the 5th level of the condensation realm at best. Instead, he had jumped 2 entire major realms. He was now as strong as his father, the family head, used to be. I watched him, feeling a bit amused. It was like watching a poor man suddenly strike gold. I told him his talent wasn't actually bad. The problem was the Chun family's lack of resources and the fact that the Great Zhou Kingdom was a barren, backwater place. I asked him what he thought made a super genius. It wasn't just talent, it was background and resources. The world was massive, and this kingdom was just a tiny speck of dust. I told him he needed to go out and see the real world. Yunxian looked stunned. I told him that if he had been born in a place with rich spirit energy and endless resources, he wouldn't be at the true Qi realm at 16. He'd be at the transcendent realm. I remembered the geniuses I'd met during my time wandering away from my master. Those kids were monsters. Yunxian asked me if someone his age could really be that powerful. I smiled and told him he was a frog in a well. He had no idea how high the sky really was. I wanted to plant a seed in his mind. I needed him to grow, not just for his own sake, but because I needed help. The fetal beads were scattered across the world, and I couldn't find them all alone. Just as we were talking, the peace was shattered. The Su and Ning families had arrived at our gates. Chen Jingyuan walked into my courtyard and immediately looked at Chen Yunxian. I could see the pride swelling in his chest. His son had been training under my guidance for a month, and the progress was undeniable. Yunchuan's strength had skyrocketed. To Jingyuan, his son's future now looked limitless. He bowed deeply to me. He told me the Chun family scouts in Yangui City had brought news. The Su and Ning families were making moves. He suspected they were heading straight for us. He looked worried, his brow furrowed with anxiety. The Su and Ning families. They were the other 2 major players in the city. I wasn't bothered. I told him to let them come. With the Chun family's current strength, those intruders wouldn't find any advantages here. I asked him how the rest of the clan had progressed over the last month. Jingyuan got excited. He told me the family had undergone a total transformation thanks to the resources I brought back. He had reached the 2nd level of the transcendent realm. The elders were now at the peak of the 9th level of the true Qi realm. Even the ordinary clansmen had reached the true Qi realm. Only the younger generation was still lagging behind in the spirit-gathering realm. He was vibrating with emotion. It had only been a month since I returned, and the Chun family was already reborn. He truly believed that in his generation, the family would return to its peak, or even surpass it. I looked at him and asked why he was still afraid. He froze. I told him that as his strength increased, his mindset needed to catch up. He couldn't keep acting like a victim when he held all the power. He nodded, realizing I was right. Suddenly, De Huang spoke up. He told us the guests had arrived. Jingyuan and Yunxian both turned cold. By now, the fact that my dog could talk wasn't a secret in the family. They knew he wasn't a normal dog. He was a king. Jingyuan told me they would handle it, and that I didn't need to trouble myself. I told him I was coming along anyway, just to watch the show. Outside, the Su and Ning families had brought their elites. They were after the treasure they thought we were hiding. At the gate, a Chun family guard named Chun Zhanyuan was trying to block them. The patriarchs of the 2 families were furious. They couldn't believe a lowly Chun family member was trying to turn them away. But then, the Ning family patriarch stopped. He sensed something off. He recognized Chun Zhanyuan. A month ago, this kid was barely at the spirit-gathering realm. Now he was at the true Qi realm. The Su patriarch noticed it too. Their eyes didn't fill with fear, though. They filled with greed. They assumed we had a cultivation treasure so powerful it could jumpstart someone's progress in weeks. Their desire blinded them. They didn't stop to think that if a gatekeeper had improved this much, how strong was the rest of the family? They just wanted that treasure. The Su patriarch glared at Zhang Yuan and threatened him. Zhang Yuan didn't flinch. He was tired of being bullied. Just as the tension reached a breaking point, Zhang Yuan's voice rang out from behind. He told Zhang Yuan to let them in. The Ning patriarch sneered. thinking Jingyuan was finally showing some sense. They marched into the compound with their men. Once they were all inside, Jingyuan calmly told Zhang Yuan to close the doors. Zhang Yuan's eyes lit up. He slammed the heavy gates shut and stood guard like a statue. The two visiting patriarchs were too focused on the loot to notice the trap. The Su patriarch started acting fake. He asked why we had been closed off lately and offered help if we were in trouble. Jingyuan didn't play along. He told them to get to the point. The Su patriarch dropped the act. He brought up the strange energy surge from a month ago. He claimed the Qin family had found a treasure and suggested we borrow it to them so we could all be one big happy family. It was a blatant threat. Hand it over, or we take it by force. Jingyuan laughed. He told them that whether we had a treasure or not was none of their business. He warned them to think carefully about the consequences. The intruders just laughed back. They asked one last time if we were going to hand it over. Jingyuan's voice turned like ice. He told them he wanted to see exactly what consequences they were planning to dish out. The Su patriarch snarled, ready to give the order to attack. "Da Huang, is that melon sweet?" My voice cut through the tension like a dull knife. Everyone stopped. They looked over and saw me lounging in a rocking chair, completely ignoring the small army in our courtyard. I was looking at Da Huang, who was guarding a piece of fruit. Da Huang looked at me, thought about it, and then shook his head. I rolled my eyes at him. I told him he was stingy and asked if he really thought I'd steal his leftovers. Da Huang glared at me. He looked like he wanted to bite me. He reminded me that I'd stolen plenty of his food over the years. Then he got offended at the leftovers comment. He barked that he wasn't just a dog. He was a dog king. Then he corrected himself, claiming he had the noble bloodline of a Qilin. Da Huang ignored me. I wanted to grab the fruit from him, but I knew I'd lose that fight. I sighed and looked at a nearby family member. I told him the melon was sour and asked him to bring me a better one. He nodded eagerly and ran off, returning a moment later with a fresh slice. I took a bite. It was perfect. I nodded in approval, and the young man looked like he'd just won the lottery. The courtyard was still frozen. Everyone was staring at me. I looked up, juice dripping from my chin. I asked them why they were just standing there. I told them to keep fighting and not to mind me. I was just here for the melon. The Qin family didn't think it was weird. To them, I was an immortal ancestor. They expected me to be calm. But the Su and Ning families were losing their minds. They looked at my youthful face and my low cultivation level, just the first stage of the Qi refining realm. I looked like a nobody, yet the Qin family treated me like a king. They knew everyone in Yingwei City, but they had no idea who I was. The Su patriarch's eyes narrowed. He decided I must be the one who brought the treasure to the family. He called out to me, promising that if I gave the treasure to them instead, they'd treat me 10,000 times better than the Qin family ever could. The entire Qin family looked at him like he was a complete idiot. The Su patriarch started to sweat. He leaned over and whispered to the Ning patriarch, asking if he'd said something wrong. The Ning patriarch just shook his head, looking just as confused. I finished my melon and signaled for another one. Then, I looked at Jingyuan. I told him to stop wasting time and get on with it. I complained that if they didn't hurry, Da Huang would eat all the good fruit before the fight even started. Da Huang looked up and glared at me. I could see the contempt in his eyes. He'd only had 2 pieces, and I was on my 3rd. "Yes, ancestor," Jingyuan replied. The word ancestor hit the intruders like a physical blow. Their jaws dropped. They couldn't believe this young man was the legendary forefather of the Qin clan. They tried to convince themselves it was a trick. They told each other I was probably just hiding my true power. The Su patriarch was visibly shaking now, his confidence completely shattered. The Ning patriarch tried one last time. He told Jingyuan that if he apologized now, there might still be a chance for peace. Jingyuan just smiled coldly. He said he had no choice but to follow the ancestors' orders. "Do it," Jingyuan commanded. The Qin family members were itching for a fight. They had all just received massive power boosts from the spirit stones I gave them. The elders moved first. They were blurs of motion, striking with zero mercy. In a single breath, half of the Su and Ning elite guards were dead on the floor. The 2 patriarchs stood frozen. They couldn't understand how the Qin elders had become so strong in just 1 month. They recognized Qin Zhengming and Qin Zhengxiao, but their power was unrecognizable. They looked like they were at the peak of the 9th stage of the Qi transformation realm. In this small corner of the world, that kind of power was unheard of. The two patriarchs looked at each other. They had the same thought, run. But it was too late. Their elites were gone. As the Chun elders closed in, a voice boomed from the entrance, telling everyone to stop. The patriarchs felt a surge of hope. Had reinforcements arrived? Did they have a secret ancestor too? I didn't even look up from my melon. Kill them, I said. Jingyuan didn't hesitate. He wasn't going to ignore my command for some random newcomer. The person at the gate tried to speak again, but Jingyuan was already moving. He reached the two patriarchs in a flash and threw two heavy palm strikes. Two loud cracks echoed through the courtyard. The leaders of the Su and Ning families fell dead instantly. You, the Transcendent Realm? A voice gasped. The newcomers were Wu Qingfeng, the governor of Beiyuan County, and Nan Xiangtian, the head of the Nan family. They had come to investigate the energy surge I'd caused a month ago. They expected to find a treasure, but instead, they found a massacre. They were stunned. Why was a powerhouse like Jinyuan hiding in a tiny place like Yingwei City? The governor looked at Jinyuan with newfound respect, but then his eyes drifted to me. He had seen it clearly. The powerful transcendent master took orders from a young man who looked like he had nothing going for him but his good looks. Jinyuan gave them a casual smile. With his new cultivation level, he didn't need to fear the governor anymore. He asked them what brought such important guests to the Qin family home. The governor just stared at me, trying to figure out who the real power in the room actually was. I sat there, calmly peeling my melon, while Wu Qingfeng and Nan Xiangtian stood frozen. They looked like they'd seen a ghost. Wu Qingfeng, the governor, tried to offer a polite smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. He started to say something, but he stopped mid-sentence. He was staring at De Huang. My dog was bored. He looked at the bodies on the ground, then at the frantic energy in the air, and let out a long, dramatic sigh. He turned around to leave, his tail drooping with disappointment. I asked with a chuckle, "You're not watching anymore?" De Huang shook his head, his expression looking strangely human. No point. The acting is terrible. The melon was good, but the fight? It doesn't compare to the duel between Lin Shangliu and Wu Mingdao back in the day. Now that was a show. I felt a pang of nostalgia. That was 1,000 years ago, wasn't it? I wonder if those two are even still around. With their talent? They're probably alive, De Huang said, pausing to think. Since we're out for a long trip anyway, maybe we should go find them and catch up. Not a bad idea, I nodded. Behind us, the governor and Nan Xiangtian were losing their minds. They stared at us, mouths agape. A dog was talking. Not just barking, but discussing legendary figures from a millennium ago like they were old drinking buddies. Chun, Patriarch Chun, Wu Qingfeng stammered, looking at Jinyuan. Who exactly are these two? Jinyuan stood tall, pride beaming from his face. This is my family's ancestor. As for De Huang, well, he's no ordinary dog. Is he a level 5 spirit beast? The governor whispered. No, Jinyuan replied. He's the king of dogs. De Huang tripped over his own paws. He spun around, baring his teeth. Are you kidding me? King of dogs? Again? Your whole family are dog kings. The two visitors shared a confused look. They didn't care about the title, they cared about the power. A dog that could speak was a monster they couldn't afford to provoke. They immediately dropped their egos, bowing low until they looked like obedient grandsons. Junior Wu Qingfeng greets the senior. Junior Nan Xiangtian greets the senior. I gave them a faint nod. So, why are you really here at the Qin house? Wu Qingfeng didn't dare lie. He explained how the spiritual energy in the entire province had been sucked dry a month ago. He was the governor. He had to investigate. He just didn't expect to walk into a bloodbath. Just doing your job, then, I said, waving it off. I won't hold it against you. I turned my attention to my grandson, Chun Yunxian. Yunxian. Yes, ancestor. Have you ever killed anyone? I asked. The boy blinked, startled by the sudden shift. No, ancestor. Never. Then I have a task for you, I said, my voice turning cold. Take a few men to the Su and Ning family estates. Man or woman, old or young, leave no one alive. The courtyard went silent. The governor and Nan Xiangtian shuddered. They realized then that I wasn't just some immortal wanderer. I was ruthless. Ancestor, Yunxian hesitated. Their elites are already dead. They aren't a threat anymore. Do we really have to go that far? I looked him dead in the eyes. If you choose to be enemies, never be soft-hearted. You must pull the grass out by the roots. Never underestimate a potential danger, because even the smallest spark can cause a fire you can't put out. To be kind to your enemy is to be cruel to yourself. Do you understand? Yunxuan's expression hardened. He bowed deeply. I understand. Yunxian will not fail you. He turned and led a group of men out of the gates, heading for the rival estates. I watched him go, knowing he needed to lose his innocence to survive the world ahead. I looked back at the governor. I'm cleaning house in your jurisdiction. You don't mind, do you? Mind? Not at all. Wu Qingfeng said quickly. He wasn't a fool. He knew that as long as I wasn't killing him, he was having a great day. If that's all, you can leave, I said. The governor hesitated. He saw an opportunity to get on my good side. Senior, the Qin family is too powerful for a small place like Yingwei City. Why don't I arrange a better territory for you within the province? No need, I replied. The Qin family is leaving soon anyway. Oh, where to? The imperial capital. The governor's face went pale. The Qin family was going back to the center of power to reclaim what they had lost. He bowed one last time and hurried out with Nen Xiangtian. Once they were far enough away, Nen Xiangtian finally exhaled. I couldn't feel any power from that man. Why is he so terrifying? Because he's at a level we can't even perceive, Wu Qingfeng whispered. The sky over the Great Zhou Kingdom is about to change. The Qin family is heading to the capital. They're going for the imperial family, aren't they? I have to report this to the emperor immediately. Meanwhile, in the imperial capital, the atmosphere at the Lu family estate was tense. Lu Mingyan and Lu Qingfeng had been back for a month. They had told the family head everything. The mysterious ancestor, the missing spiritual energy, the sheer pressure I had exerted. But the Lu patriarch was wavering. Are you sure he's that strong? The patriarch asked, pacing the room. You didn't actually see him fight. He didn't need to, Lu Qingfeng insisted. He stood there and my aura didn't even ruffle his clothes. He's at least in the transcendent realm, maybe higher. We have to cancel the engagement. The patriarch scowled. The engagement between Mengyan and the fifth prince is in 1 month. The royal family has already started the preparations. If we cancel now, we aren't just breaking a contract. We're slapping the emperor in the face. I know what you're hesitating for, Lu Mingyan said, her voice urgent. But the Qin family ancestor is a man who has lived for 10,000 years. If we prepare now and show some respect, maybe he'll show us mercy for the sake of our past connection. As for the imperial family, I doubt even they would dare provoke a monster like that. The Lu patriarch looked troubled. He paced the floor for a long time, his brow furrowed in deep thought. Then, suddenly, his expression shifted. A cold smile spread across his face. Wrong, he whispered. It's all wrong. The Qin family really played us. They almost had me fooled. Lu Mingyan blinked, confused. Father? What do you mean? If the Qin family truly had an ancestor that powerful, why has there been no movement for an entire month? The patriarch asked, his eyes gleaming with realization. If he were truly invincible, why would he bother with petty psychological games to warn you? He did it for one reason, to make you afraid. He wanted to scare you so you wouldn't dare move against them. He let out a sharp, mocking laugh. If you two had fallen for it and canceled the engagement with the fifth prince, we wouldn't need the Qin family to destroy us. The emperor's rage would have finished us off for them. They would have wiped us out without spilling a single drop of blood. What a brilliant scheme. Lu Qingfeng frowned, still unconvinced. But patriarch, that man's power was real. I felt it. No one could stay that calm under my pressure unless they were truly strong. That's where they were clever, the patriarch countered. He has power, sure, but not enough. He's stronger than you, but he's nowhere near the level of the imperial family. If Mengyan marries the fifth prince, we become family with the royals. At that point, what could the Qin family possibly do to us? You two are too naive. Even I almost let you lead me astray. A little trick like that can't hide from my eyes forever. Lu Mingyan and Lu Qingfeng shared a look of pure relief. The weight that had been crushing them for a month finally lifted. Those Qin family snakes, Mingyan spat, her face reddening with anger. They almost ruined my future. Father, We can't let this go. They still have the marriage contract. I'm worried they'll use it to cause trouble during the wedding. The patriarch smiled calmly. That won't be a problem. Mingyan, you and the fifth prince are a perfect match. His uncle is the third elder of the Shangqing sect. If you tell the prince about this and have his uncle intervene, the Qin family won't be able to stir up even a tiny ripple. The great Zhou imperial family and the Shangqing sect were tightly linked. In fact, the sect's current supreme elder was a member of the royal family. If the royals were in trouble, the sect would never sit idly by. I'll go find the fifth prince right now, Mingyan said, her eyes cold. Good, the patriarch nodded. Deal with this threat quickly. We can't let it linger. While the Lu family was plotting, I was already far away from Yanyu City. Look at that. Am I dreaming? I must be drunk. Is that dog actually riding a horse? Damn, I can't even afford a horse, and that dog has his own saddle? Who are these people? I ignored the whispers of the crowd as I rode down the main road. Beside me, my grandson Chen Yinxian looked like he wanted to vanish into the earth. It had been 3 days since we left the city, and everywhere we went, we drew a crowd. The reason was simple, De Huang. The dog had insisted on riding a horse. A dog on horseback. It was a sight no one in this kingdom had ever seen. At first, Yinxian was mortified by the attention, but by day 3, he had reached a state of numb acceptance. Yinxian, I called out. Are we still within the borders of the Northern Army territory? Yinxian pulled his thoughts back. I haven't traveled much outside the city, Grandpa, but based on our progress, we should still be in their range. 3 days, and we haven't left yet. I sighed. We're moving too slow. De Huang, this is your fault. If you weren't insisting on this horse, we'd be miles ahead. De Huang didn't even look at me. He just sat tall in his saddle and sent a telepathic message straight into my brain. What's the rush? I've lived 10,000 years. Can't I enjoy the finer things? You get to ride me all the time, but I can't ride a horse? You've got a long life ahead of you, kid. Stop acting like you're racing to your own funeral. I shook my head, fighting back a smile. This dog had a serious attitude lately. Maybe I needed to find him a nice female dog to help him blow off some steam. I'm sure he'd thank me for it. The thought made me chuckle to myself, which only made Yinxian look at me like I was losing my mind. De Huang, however, shot me a suspicious, narrowed look. He knew I was up to no good. Suddenly, shouting broke out up ahead. A group of burly men had surrounded a small fortune-telling stall. They looked ready to kill. Wait, please, the old fortune-teller cried out, waving his hands. Tell me, what did I get wrong? 7 days ago, the lead thug roared. You told me I had a bloody disaster coming. You said I was facing a great catastrophe and told me to leave town for a week. Isn't that what you said? The old man nodded nervously. Yes, that is what I saw. Well, I didn't leave, the thug yelled, leaning into the old man's face. I stayed right here. Where's my disaster? Where's the blood? You're nothing but a fraud. The crowd started jeering. People love watching a scammer get caught. They were shouting for the thugs to wreck the place. But the old man didn't look scared anymore. He just looked tired. He shook his head slowly. I tried to save you, the old man whispered. But the star of calamity has entered your house. There is no turning back now. May heaven have mercy on you. Still trying to lie? The thug cracked his knuckles. You saw a bloody disaster, huh? Well, did you see this one coming? Get him. The thugs lunged. In a flash, I moved. Before anyone could blink, I was standing in front of the stall. A series of dull thuds echoed through the street as the thugs were sent flying backward, hitting the dirt hard. The crowd went silent. They stared at me, then at the old man. I told you, the old man said with a wicked little grin, looking at the groaning thugs. I told you that you had a bloody disaster coming. You just didn't listen. The lead thug scrambled to his feet, clutching his chest. He glared at me, his face twisted in rage. Who the hell are you to him? The person who stepped in was Chun Yinxian. Why did he do it? Simple. I ordered him to. You can't touch this man, Yinxian said, his voice flat and calm. Go away. The lead thug didn't back down. He laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Can't touch him? Don't think you can scare me, kid. My brother-in-law is a guard for the Nan family. If you mess with me, he'll make sure you regret it. The Nan family. I hadn't realized we were standing on their turf. Yinxian didn't seem to care. He looked the man up and down with total indifference. You probably don't even know who the Nan family is, the thug sneered. Now get lost. He lunged at Yunxian, but he never stood a chance. Yunxian delivered a single, effortless kick. The man flew backward, hitting the ground with a heavy thud. He coughed, and a spray of bright red blood hit the dirt. The crowd gasped. A bloody disaster. The old man's prediction had actually come true. No way. The thug wheezed, clutching his stomach. It's been 7 days. The time was up. How could this happen? The old man sighed, looking down at him with pity. You forgot, didn't you? You came to see me in the afternoon. It's still an hour short of 7 full days. I didn't lie to you. If you hadn't come back today, this wouldn't have happened. You played me, the thug screamed, his eyes bloodshot. You're dead. Just you wait. I'm going to kill you. Yunchuan's expression went cold. I had taught him well. Always pull the grass out by the roots. If a man threatens your life, you don't give him a second chance. Before the thug could say another word, Yunxian ended it. See, the old man shouted to the stunned crowd. I told you. A great catastrophe. Does anyone else want their fortune told? The crowd didn't stick around. They turned and ran as fast as their legs could carry them. The old man watched them go and let out a long, weary breath. People misunderstand me so much, he muttered. He turned to Yunxian and bowed. Thank you, young hero. You have an extraordinary aura. I can see you're destined for greatness. Why don't I? No need, Yunxian interrupted. He didn't like the old man. I was just following orders. Following orders? The old man's eyes twinkled. He looked past Yunxian, his gaze landing directly on me. He grinned and started walking over, his face shifting into a greasy, flattering smile. Thank you for the help, young friend. You have a truly remarkable aura, destined for greatness. Let me cut the act, I said, smiling. It's been a long time. How are you not dead yet? The old man froze. The fake smile vanished, replaced by a knowing, wicked smirk. Look who's talking. You're still kicking, aren't you? Yunxian stared at us, his jaw dropping. Old ancestor, you know this fraud? He's no fraud, I said, but he's definitely a piece of work. I stood up and gestured toward a nearby restaurant. This isn't the place to talk. Let's go. We have 3,000 years of catching up to do. We found a private room in a high-end tavern. As the food and wine arrived, the old man looked at me and De Huang, shaking his head in disbelief. 3,000 years since we last met, he whispered. And you two haven't changed a bit. It feels like a lifetime ago. Yunxian was silent, trying to process this. He knew I was old, but this raggedy old man didn't look like a legendary figure. He looked like a beggar. Senior, Yunxian asked tentatively. If you know my ancestor, you must be a powerful master. How did those thugs manage to corner you? Yunxian, meet Wang Tianji, I explained. He's the third-generation leader of the Heaven's Secret Pavilion. He's incredibly strong. The problem is, he does too many immoral things, so he constantly suffers from divine retribution. Retribution? Yunxian asked. What does that mean? Wang Tianji laughed bitterly. My lineage tries to peek at the secrets of heaven. Every 1,000 years, our bodies fail. We age rapidly, and our cultivation disappears completely for 10 years. During that time, we are as helpless as infants. If someone wants us dead, we can't fight back. If you're in your weak phase, why are you all the way out here in the Great Zhou Kingdom? I asked. With no cultivation, it would take you a century to walk this far from your home. I paused, realizing something wasn't right. Wait, I met you during your last weak phase. According to the timeline, your next one shouldn't have happened for another 300 years. Why is it happening now? Wang Tianji's smile faded. About a year ago, I felt something. I cast a divination and found the heavens in total chaos. Something massive is coming. My reading showed an old friend would appear in this tiny kingdom. I couldn't figure out who, but I knew I didn't have many friends left. You were the only one I could never see through. Your fate has always been a blur. He looked at Yunxian. I hurried here before my strength vanished because I knew we'd meet. But I didn't expect your descendant to be just like you. Is the Chun family just a factory for monsters? I laughed and said, we have our ways. So, you forced a divination, triggered your retribution early, and traveled thousands of miles just to say hello? Maybe I'm just getting old, Wang Tianji said, picking up his chopsticks. I want to see my friends while I still can. I don't know what's coming, and honestly, I've stopped caring. Fine, I said, raising my glass. Today, we just drink. No secrets, no fate. We spent the next hour laughing and drinking. Yunxian sat quietly, keeping our glasses full, clearly realizing he was in the presence of legends. When the meal was over, Wang Tianji patted his stomach and stood up. That was good, he said. The best meal I've had in years. But all good things must end. It's time for me to go. I looked at him and asked, now? Yes, he replied. Now. I nodded. I didn't try to stop him. As he walked out the door, Yunxian looked at me, worried. Old ancestor. He has no cultivation left. Is it safe for him to wander alone? I watched the door close behind Wang Tianji. Yunxian stood beside me, his brow furrowed with genuine concern. He asked if it was safe for a man with no cultivation to wander alone. He won't be in danger, I said simply. He fell into a trap once. With his personality, he won't let it happen a second time. Don't forget, he's the third-generation master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. Do you really think he'd travel without protection? Yunxian blinked, processing my words. So, you mean Senior Wang has people guarding him in the shadows? Then why did you have me intervene earlier? I was just playing along to help him finish his act, I replied. I leaned back and looked at my grandson. Yunxian, what do you think of Wang Tianji? Yunxian fell silent, deep in thought. After a moment, he spoke seriously. Ancestor, I can't see through him. I don't know him well, and our brief meeting didn't give me much to go on. But since he's your old friend, I assume he's a decent man. I laughed, catching Yunxian off guard. A man who spends his life trying to pry into the secrets of heaven is never simple. You didn't actually believe he came all this way just to reminisce about the old days, did you? Yunxian looked startled. He isn't a villain, I continued. But he's certainly not a saint. Keep that in mind. Yunxian looked lost. During the meal, we had been laughing and drinking like lifelong brothers. He couldn't understand why I was being so critical now. Was there a hidden motive behind Wang Tianji's sudden appearance? I didn't rush him. I sat quietly, letting him replay every detail of the encounter in his head. Finally, Yunxian spoke up. Ancestor, his divination was real. His desire to catch up was likely real too. But he lied by omission. If he knows a massive event is coming, he must know the details. Yet, he didn't mention a single specific thing. He has an agenda. I nodded, satisfied. Not a bad analysis. If that's the case, Yunxian said, his voice dropping an octave, why not force the truth out of him while his cultivation is gone? Or better yet, he didn't finish the sentence, but the intent was clear. You brat, I chuckled. He told you his cultivation was gone, and you just believed him? Didn't you notice his aura vanished the second he stepped out of this restaurant? That isn't something a powerless old man can do. Yunxian froze. He hadn't noticed at all. So he lied about that too? What is he after? Wang Tianji is a man of deep schemes, I said, but he won't move against us. Why not? Because he's afraid. I knew Wang Tianji. Even if he didn't understand why, he felt a primal dread whenever he was around me. Thousands of miles away, the powerless Wang Tianji had already shed his disguise. He stood tall, his true face revealed, as members of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion knelt before him. Keep a close eye on Chun Yunxian, Wang Tianji commanded. He's just starting to show his talent, but his future is limitless. The more we know about him, the better. Understood, Pavilion Master, one subordinate replied. And what about Qin Chang'an? Wang Tianji's brow twitched. He had come to the Great Zhou Kingdom specifically to test me, but just like 3,000 years ago, he saw nothing. All his cultivation and wisdom were useless against the fog surrounding my fate. Chun Yunxian carries a massive destiny, Wang Tianji muttered. He will be a key player in the coming chaos. But Qin Chang'an, what role does he play? With their connection, he can't be an outsider. Is he a piece on the board, or the one who breaks the board? His subordinates were baffled. The pavilion knew everything about the world's strongest experts, yet their records held absolutely nothing on a man named Qin Chang'an. Master, if we can't see through him, perhaps we should. The subordinate never finished. A crushing pressure suddenly descended from the sky, heavy enough to crack the earth. Wang Tianji's face turned pale. He surged his full power to resist, but it was like a bug trying to stop a mountain. The entire group was slammed into the dirt, their knees shattering the ground into a crater. Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. What is Wang Beichuan to you? The voice was beautiful, but it carried a chill that froze the blood. Wang Tianji looked up with immense effort. A woman in a purple dress stood nearby, her face hidden behind a thin veil. It was my master, Mu Yunyao. He is my ancestor, Wang Tianji gasped. Humph. For the sake of that brat Beichuan, I'll spare you today, she said coldly. But listen well. I don't care who you are or what you want. If you plot against Qinchang'an, I will wipe your entire family from existence. She paused, her eyes flashing with a terrifying light. My person isn't someone you're allowed to calculate. Wang Tianji broke into a cold sweat. He didn't know who this woman was, only that she was a monster. Asterisk his person? Is she Qinchang'an's woman? Did he send her to warn me? Asterisk. Senior, please, Wang Tianji stammered. I am an old friend. I would never plot against Brother Chun. You wouldn't dare, she snapped. Now tell me, why did you really show up? What has your pavilion discovered? Wang Tianji hesitated, then whispered, Have you heard of the 3 rankings of heaven, earth, and man? They are reappearing in the mortal realm. Mu Yunyao's eyes narrowed. The 3 rankings? When? It started as a divination, Wang Tianji said. But a month ago, we confirmed it. They have physically manifested. You must know what that means. Mu Yunyao knew exactly what it meant. She had lived through it tens of thousands of years ago. They haven't appeared in millennia. Why now? Give me the exact date they surfaced. It happened on the 5th day of the 6th month. When Wang Tianji said those words, a cold shiver ran down my master's spine. Mu Yunyao knew that date all too well. It was the exact moment I had finally absorbed the fetal bead and gained the ability to cultivate after 10,000 years. The timing was too perfect. The 3 rankings of heaven, earth, and man had strict rules, especially regarding age. By all accounts, I didn't fit the criteria. Yet, the moment I began my journey, the rankings reappeared. Was it a coincidence? Or was I the catalyst? Mu Yunyao understood the stakes better than anyone. She had seen the world burn the last time these rankings surfaced. Back then, legendary powers rose to dominance while others were ground into dust. Now, those same top-tier sects would stop at nothing to protect their positions. They would kill to ensure they weren't replaced. The world was about to descend into absolute chaos. The 3 rankings weren't just lists. They were the physical manifestation of the heavenly Tao's will. To be ranked was to receive gifts directly from the heavens. For a cultivator, there was no greater temptation. They didn't all appear at once. The process always started with the human ranking. It was the lowest tier, restricted to those under the age of 30. It measured speed, strength, and raw talent. In reality, the human ranking was a brutal audition. It was designed to weed out the weak and the unworthy. Because of this, the competition was savage. People didn't just fight for a spot, they hunted. Families would send out assassins to slaughter talented youngsters from rival clans just to clear the path. It was a bloodbath where opportunity and death walked hand in hand. Mu Yunyao had lived through the last cycle. She was one of the few who had truly benefited from it, though she had always preferred her freedom. She never built a sect or joined a great power. In all those thousands of years, I was the only disciple she had ever taken. Senior, Wang Tianji said, his voice trembling. This time, the rankings seemed different. Mu Yunyao frowned. She caught his meaning instantly. Something was wrong with the rhythm of the world. You mean they haven't actually opened yet? Is that it? Yes, Wang Tianji replied. Last time, the heavenly Tao announced the opening to every living soul. Everyone saw it. Everyone heard it. But this time, our Heaven Secrets Pavilion only detected the signs. The great powers likely know, but the human ranking remains dormant. It's confusing everyone. Mu Yunyao looked toward the horizon. Where are the rankings located now? Are they still at Yinshao Peak? She remembered it clearly. That was where the world had changed forever the last time the heavens spoke.